HOA officers got violent over fake fines. Now they're being sued for assault and fraud. The air in Karen Heights was thick with the scent of freshly cut grass and unspoken grudges. For years, the neighborhood's homeowners association, led by the iron-fisted Margaret Voss, ruled with an almost tyrannical zeal. Fines for untrimmed hedges, unauthorized mailbox colors, or even a single weed in a lawn were slapped on residents with gleeful precision. Most complied, grumbling but obedient, except for Elena Martinez. Elena, a single mother and high school teacher, had moved to Karen Heights seeking a quiet life for her teenage son, Lucas. Her modest home, with its slightly faded paint and wildflower garden, became a target for Margaret's relentless inspections. The fine started smell a warning for her unkempt lawn, a $50 penalty for a cracked driveway. But when a $2,000 fine arrived for unapproved exterior modifications, she never made, Elena snapped. She confronted Margaret at the HOA's monthly meeting, her voice trembling with fury as she waved the fraudulent notice. "This is a lie, and you know it," she shouted, her words echoing in the sterile community center. Margaret's cold smile didn't waver. "Rules are rules, Ms. Martinez. Pay or face consequences." The consequences came swiftly. 2 days later, Margaret and her deputy, Carl, a burly man with a temper as short as his patience, showed up at Elena's doorstep. Lucas, watching from the window, saw Carl's hand twitch toward his belt as Margaret thrust another fine under Elena's nose. "You're defying the community," Margaret hissed. Elena stood her ground, her voice low but fierce. "You're extorting us, and I'll prove it." The argument escalated, words turning to shouts. Neighbors gathered, phones out, filming the chaos. Then Carl grabbed Elena's arm, twisting it hard. Lucas screamed, rushing out, only to be shoved to the ground by Carl. The crack of Elena's fist against Carl's jaw stunned the crowd into silence. The neighborhood erupted. Some cheered Elena's defiance. Others whispered about her disrespect. But the real shock came when Tom, a quiet retiree who'd lived on the street for decades, stepped forward. Known for his meticulous lawn and silence at HOA meetings, Tom was an unlikely hero. He held up a stack of papers, his hands shaking. "I've been auditing the HOA's books," he said, voice steady despite the tremor. "These fines? Half are fake. Margaret and Carl have been pocketing thousands." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tom's evidence bank statements, forged receipts revealed a scheme that had fleeced residents for years. Margaret's face drained of color, but Carl lunged at Tom, knocking the papers into the dirt. A neighbor's quick tackle stopped him, but the damage was done. The truth was out. Elena pressed charges that same week. Assault, fraud, and emotional distress. Her lawsuit named Margaret, Carl, and the HOA itself. The courtroom was a battleground, with neighbors split between loyalty to the HOA's order and outrage at its betrayal. Elena's lawyer, a sharp young woman named Priya, tore into Margaret's fabricated records, exposing a web of lies that implicated even the HOA's treasurer, who'd quietly profited. The twist came when Priya called Lucas to the stand. His testimony raw, halting, about watching his mother fight for their home broke the room. Even the judge's stoic mask cracked. Lucas revealed something no one expected. He'd recorded Carl admitting to the scam during a heated phone call, a desperate attempt to intimidate Elena into silence. The audio was damning, Carl's voice snarling, "Pay up, or we'll ruin you." The courtroom fell silent, the weight of betrayal suffocating. The verdict was swift. Margaret and Carl were found guilty of fraud and assault, ordered to pay restitution and facing jail time. The HOA was dismantled, its assets frozen to compensate victims. But victory tasted bitter. Elena's home, once a sanctuary, was now a symbol of division. Neighbors who'd once waved warmly now avoided her gaze, some blaming her for tearing the community apart. Lucas withdrew, haunted by the memory of Carl's hands on him. Tom, the unlikely whistleblower, moved away, unable to bear the whispers of traitor. Elena won her case but lost her peace. Late at night, she'd sit on her porch, staring at the wildflowers she'd fought to keep, wondering if justice was worth the cost. The case sparked a firestorm beyond Karen Heights. Social media buzzed with hashtags like HOA Revolt, and news outlets ran exposés on predatory HOAs nationwide. Elena became an unwilling symbol of resistance, her story a cautionary tale of power unchecked. Yet, as she packed boxes to leave the neighborhood she'd once loved, she couldn't shake the ache in her chest. The system had failed her long before Margaret's fines, and no lawsuit could undo that truth. What would you do when trust in your community crumbles? Share your thoughts on justice, betrayal, or the cost of standing up.